Welcome to the Mesozoic Media Park. The goal for this park is to fill it with as many references to dinosaur movies, shows, video games, documentaries, you name it. Last time we started the original Walking with Dinosaurs. This time, we're going to continue that trend. We're going to do a little bit more from Walking with Dinosaurs. Let's get right into it. So one thing that I absolutely want to do is include the Utah Raptors and the Iguanodon from the Walking with Dinosaurs episode that had Utah Raptors and Iguanodon. For some reason, we had European Utah Raptors and a European Iguanodon, which that's correct. You know, Iguanodon was European. So that's what we're going to do here. It's just going to be a fun little enclosure. The only trick that I have to try to figure out here is how to make this enclosure feel a little bit more unique, because, you know, I just don't want it to blend in with other enclosures. I want this to look pretty darn nice. And also, do I want to just include the Utah Raptors in the same enclosure as Iguanodon? Yeah, sure, we'll do that. Okay, so in our original Mesozoic Media Park, what I did was I created a little bit of a hill that these guys were on, because that's kind of how it was in the actual episode. So it kind of makes sense to try to include that here. So maybe what we can have is a little bit of an enclosure where you can look down over here. Like there will be a little bit of an overlook, and you'll be able to see the Utah Raptors and the Iguanodons just kind of coexisting. And then what we can also do is make a little bit of a hill over here, right? So that it seems just a tad bit more gradual, like this. And actually, we can have it connected to the Liopleurodon exhibit. That way I don't have to build a wall back there. And then I guess what I could do, hold on one second. So we can flatten this just a tad bit so that you have a nice overlook over here where folks, again, can just, stare into the exhibit. I wonder if I can make this work with an actual pathway instead of building on things that guests won't be able to walk on. Like, how about we try this, like that, and then it all hooks up. Right, and then you can look into the exhibit right here. And then I could also include some rocks. In addition to all of that, there was also, there was like a little bit of a lake or a pond that the Iguanodons were hanging out around when they were attacked by bloodthirsty, skinny Utah Raptors. So maybe we can make that with this? Question mark? How large do I really want to make it? Like, that feels like a decent size. I don't want to make the enclosure too big. I've really been getting carried away with that. I need to tone it back. I can't have too large of enclosures. Otherwise, we're just going to have too many issues when we want to try to include new things down the line. So I have to tone it back. I have to. I may not want to, but I have to. And then maybe our traditional yellow. Where'd I get yellow from? Our traditional metal fence can go right here. That's a little bit crooked, so I think I'm going to try to fix that. I'm going to make it line up as much as we can. Like so. And you can look into here. We need some benches. Okay, so you can view into here. Let me see how good that looks, actually. Walk up, and you can look down, and yeah, you can see, some Utah Raptors, see some Iguanodons, just kind of chilling, hanging out on this hill. We'll put more rocks on that hill. In addition to that, we'll also place more rocks over here. The rocks will just act as the actual enclosure. It'll feel very naturalistic. I like rocks. Rocks are always really fun to work with. They're a lot easier to work with than most other things in the game. Because I'm bad at building, guys. I'm bad at building. But I don't know. In real life, I've always liked zoos that have, like, they try to make their enclosures look naturalistic. Those are always, like, the coolest and, like the most visually pleasing enclosures. So regardless, I would probably try to do that anyway. I'm just glad I can in this game, because we absolutely could not do that in Evolution 2. That, like that. And then we could do more over here. And then again, it'll all just link up to this exhibit over here. A little bit more of a steady transition. I also want to make sure I put some rocks down here so that no animals can climb out. It'd be very difficult for them to do that like this. Okay, and then I guess that on this side we can have it continue a little bit. You know, it's kind of cool. It's kind of like you're looking over a cliff to see these animals. You only get like a little moment because maybe these animals are just a little bit more shy than the rest of them. Try to make all of this look like a really nice kind of mountainy backdrop. This might seem like overkill for the animals that are going to be in this, but I think it looks kind of neat. And then we'll place down just a wide, turn on random rotation. We'll turn on random rotation. We'll place down some random rocks that go down here on your way to this, to the lake that the iguanodons were existing at. We shall also get some vegetation here. Oh, that looks pretty cool. Oh yeah, I kind of like the way that looks. I should probably fill it in over here too, shouldn't I? Yeah. Yeah, I will. Again, the only place where you can view them is right here. So you better hope that they'll be around when you're around here. All of our guests. I mean, there's already 2 places where you can see iguanodon and Utahraptor in the park, so you won't be missing out on much. Kind of like it. I think it's kind of like a nice little spot. Yeah, that's kind of cool to look into. Like you can look at a few different angles to try to see if you can see what you want to see. Yeah. So I guess that means we could bring these lovely animals into their exhibit. The Utahraptor, obviously, we know what they looked like in that. We'll get 2 of them. We need to try to make them as close to... kind of have like a yellow coloration with some blackish spots. So that might be kind of close. Kind of. A little bit. That looks better. Yeah. So maybe let's try that on the other one too. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, at least the stripes look a little bit better. So we'll do that. The iguanodons are fairly simple. They have like a, a green coloration, like a darkish green coloration with some light green. Like that even looks a little bit closer than if I actually... oh, no, there we go. That's better. So we'll do that. Here we go. And actually, they look pretty darn close to their on-screen counterparts. Oh, see, look at that. We are running out of space, and we are doing it quick. That's why I can't make these exhibits too large. Okay, well, there they are. I like seeing them, like, just all hanging around right there. Isn't that fun? Look at that. You get, like, a little peek of the episode. Look at that. There's a European Utahraptor. It's fictional. We have no evidence of Utahraptor living in Europe. I mean, it might have happened. We just, again, don't have any evidence for it. I like them, though. And these guys, their colors match their on-screen appearance way more than the Utahraptors do. But the Utahraptors are still really, really cool. I like the way that they look in this area. In a lot of ways, it feels very naturalistic. Like, just seeing the Utahraptors climb the hill with all of these rocks and vegetation, it's pretty cool. It's all pretty cool. What are you guys doing? Bugging each other? Don't bug each other. I like this. I really kind of like how this turned out. I don't know. I don't know what it is about it. It's pretty nice. It's a pretty nice exhibit. Okay, well, on that note, we're going to kind of like try to do some improvements around the park, which is usually something that I try to do off camera every once in a while, but every once in a while I can do it on camera, I guess. But first of all, I want to show you some changes that I made to this exhibit right here. Let me first. So I did kind of change up the lights in here a little bit. I haven't tested it out yet, so hopefully it looks good. Yeah, it looks pretty darn cool. Yeah, so now I put in like these sort of floodlights in here instead of, those just relying on those red squares back there. And at the very least, you can see the Deinonychus a little bit more. So it's a better representation of the cave scene from Primitive War. So I think that's pretty darn cool. You can also see them out here rustling around a little bit. I'm not too sure if they are actually in there. And I did the exact same thing to the Disney's Dinosaur ride. Unfortunately, the Disney's Dinosaur ride has officially closed down now. So now this is like a really nice little tribute to it, I guess. I'm pretty sad about it. I liked the ride. I thought the ride was cool. I only ever got to ride it once, but it was cool. It's a little bit lackluster in here, I think. Yeah, we can go into here, and then we can go on. There we go. Now there's more floodlights in here, so you can better see the Carnotaurus from Disney's Dinosaur. It's just significantly smaller than they were in Disney's Dinosaur, which I think is pretty cool. Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, I should have known that, but yeah. Yeah, there they are. Oh, we are going fast. Ah! Ah! Oh. Okay, well. Sorry, guys. Here they are. I think I accidentally gave them Toro's skin instead of Demon. That's okay. There's not much of a difference. I just have to make sure I give the Demon skin to one of the Carnotaurs in the future, if we ever do Carnotaurs again, which I assume we will. Okay, yeah, so those are a few things that I've improved. But here, for example, there's just all of this ugly dead space. One simple thing that I usually like to do is try to fill it up with some vegetation. That way it just looks a little bit more lively. I don't know if this is the best thing to do, but at the very least it looks better than just having this flat yard going on. Of course, I can always try to like build a playground or something to have in some of these open areas. But for now, as like a little bit of a placeholder, I'm just going to place down some vegetation. Make it look, at the very least, a little bit nicer. Like over here, this is where you get into the prehistoric park area. So maybe I should do something a little bit more substantial right there. Like a statue. Statues are always fun. Let's do a statue. And what kind of statue screams prehistoric park? You know? Let's just do Triceratops. Triceratops is one of the first dinosaurs to be brought back in prehistoric park. Or was Theo the first? I think he was, wasn't he? So I think Triceratops was the first dinosaur to be brought back into prehistoric park. So yeah, let's place a little Triceratops family right there. I wish I had the rest of these unlocked, but I haven't done campaign stuff or anything like that. I need to. I know. That is something I need to do. What else can I do to liven it up a little bit over here? I mean, I guess another thing I could do is try to make it look like this is meant to be a place for a statue. So, like, place down rocks. Oh, that is way bigger than I thought it would be. Holy moly. Place down, like, a few rocks here. Okay, and then let's, like, pick up the Triceratops here, and let's like do this. Okay, and then I can build up a few more rocks to make it seem like they're really standing on the rocks. Yeah, some park improvements were certainly needed. Things are looking a little bit boring right now, especially the more that we expand. Do that, and then we do that. There we go. Now they're not just floating there anymore, so they're on the rocks. That's like a nice sort of base. Another good thing we can do is surround this with some vegetation, make it look like it's all oh my gosh, that was crazy. Make a little bit more like this, perhaps. And then can I make this look like a path that's a little bit more traveled on? Are there any other paths that look like they're a little bit more traveled on? There's a rock one. I don't know if I want that though. Did I place down the invisible one? Sand biome. How does sand biome look? Yeah, I think that's better. At the very least, now you can tell that there's meant to be a path here. And I wanted it to look like it was a bit more naturalistic because in prehistoric park, when in the intro, Nigel's driving on, I believe it was like a dirt path, and he's going in through here and he's entering through the gates like that. I wanted it to look a little bit more like that. So that's the whole intention behind this. We just need to dress it up a little bit more. I'm not against this looking like a field, though, considering the fact that it was in a field in prehistoric park. So we'll keep that. We won't put too many trees. We'll just fill this in. Yeah, that could be like that. And then I guess we can put some, maybe these trees right here to kind of dress that up a little bit. Same goes with over here. That looks way nicer than it did before. Now I could definitely see myself walking on this. It's like, oh, look at this. Look, honey. There's a Triceratops here. Oh, there's something over there. Let's go and check it out, and then you go in and then you get to see the prehistoric park section of the park. I feel like I should still do a little bit more over here. I don't know what exactly, but I think, what do I want to do? I don't know. If you guys have any ideas, be sure to let me know, but it is kind of like a barren open area, and if I feel like it'd be justified to do a little bit more. Here's another place that can stand to have a few more things. It feels like a statue would be necessary right here. Maybe I can put a sauropod. I already did a sauropod statue over here. So maybe that's not a good idea. What kind of statue can I put that matches this? This is kind of like a little bit of a vintage dinosaur section. You know, you have the Crystal Palace iguanodons right here. You have the Gertie the dinosaur over here, and you have Fantasia right here. So what screams vintage? How big can I make this T-Rex skull? Not that big, right? Yeah, that's... I don't know what I could do with that. I don't have any more... And I don't have any more statues unlocked, so I guess we'll just... Oh, geez, don't want to do that. I don't mind having trees in here, though. Maybe we could just add some depth to all of this. Gotta have a lot of nature, guys. Nature's pretty. Nature's downright beautiful. Plus, it'll hide some of the imperfections in some of these enclosures. And yes, I have been using 2 different types of trees. Figured it'd look kind of cool, like you're in different sections of the park almost. I don't know. It gives it... It's kind of like interesting to look at in the eye. I don't know if it'll look good in the end, but... Okay. That looks better. And I've already done a lot of that to areas over here. Although it looks like we could stand to have it done here. And over here. As well as over here. Which will keep this consistent with the trees I already have there. Given the fact that this is meant to be surrounding our frozen past from Dinosauria. Although maybe like half of it can be like that, and then the other half we can make into trees like this. I know that this portion of the video is probably pretty boring, and I understand that I'm sure a lot of you have left by now, but for those of you who have stuck around, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the support. Let me know if you guys are liking this series, because I like doing this series. You know, it's been way more fun than in Evolution 2. And that's mainly because you have more creative freedom, which is overall way more preferable, if you ask me. Okay, that's not bad. It's not bad. Fill it in here too. Maybe fill it in back here. Just make it look like the prehistoric park section just has a ton of forests going on. It really feels like it's alive. I really hope one day I can put more things into the prehistoric park section because it's taken up a lot of space. Like I want to put mammoths and stuff. I want to put Dinosuchus in here. I really hope we could do that one day. Only time will tell, though. And then last, but certainly not least, we can fill it in over here. Again, make things feel a little bit more alive. There we go. Okay. I don't know. There's just something about seeing that many trees, especially when you're kind of walking around in the midst of the trees. Like look at that. That's pretty cool. Some of this needs to be flattened out, I think, but yeah, you can look in and you can see some Coelophysis just chilling. Go over here, see more Coelophysis. Hello, Coelophysis. How are you doing today? Doing well? I hope so. And then go over here, and then I'll place down more benches and trash cans and stuff. Those are things that help make it feel alive. Go in here, we can check out the... Oh, perfect timing. Oh, that is so cool and terrifying at the same time. Then lastly, we can finally check out Europe over here. It's a little bit of a walk, but once you get there, you can see some iguanodons hanging out with some European Utah raptors. I really like how this one turned out. I really do. Anyway, I think that's pretty much all I have for this one. As per usual, if you guys have any suggestions, be sure to leave them down below. We're probably going to keep focusing on walking with dinosaurs for the foreseeable future. I don't know if I'm going to do each episode. If inspiration hits, then I will. But I don't know if I'm going to do that yet. If anything, we're going to do the 2025 Walking with Dinosaurs first before we add any more to the original. Like, this might be good for the original. I would put the T-Rex, but we already have so many T-Rexes in this park, so it kind of feels a little bit unnecessary. So instead, it might just be these 3. I might do a Morse information thing. I don't know yet. We'll see. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Once again, leave all of the suggestions in the comments down below. And until next time, have an awesome day.